The laughter came before the splash fully settled. It rolled across the pool like a wave, sharp and careless, bouncing off marble walls and glass doors. Lena barely had time to gasp before the water closed over her head. Cold rushed into her ears. The tray slipped from her hands. Glass sank. For one long second, the noise above felt far away, like she had dropped into another world. She broke the surface, coughing, hair stuck to her face, eyes burning from chlorine. Music still played, lights still glowed. The party did not stop. People leaned forward, smiling, phones already raised. Someone whistled. Someone clapped as if this were planned. Lena looked around stunned. She waited for concern. It did not come. She pulled herself to the pool's edge, fingers shaking as she gripped the stone. Her shoes were gone. Her uniform clung to her body, heavy and see-through. She felt exposed in every way. The laughter grew louder when she tried to climb out and slipped once more. As she stood dripping on the deck, her chest tight, she replayed the moment just before she fell. She had been walking carefully, eyes on the tray, aware of how close the guests stood to the water. Then she felt it. A firm push between her shoulders. Not a bump, not a mistake, a shove. She had not seen the face, but she knew the hand. Marcus Hale stood by the bar, dry and calm, adjusting his cufflinks. He watched her with a faint smile that vanished when their eyes met. He raised his glass slightly, a quiet gesture that felt like mockery. Marcus was the reason she was here. 3 months earlier, Lena had walked into the hotel shaking, resume folded too many times. Rent was overdue. Her mother's medicine was running low. Marcus had looked her over and smiled like he already owned her time. "You're lucky," he had said then. "We need reliable people." At first he was polite, too polite. Compliments that lasted a second too long. Comments that made her uneasy, but not enough to accuse. When she ignored them, his tone changed. She clearly said no to dinner. His smile hardened. After that, nothing she did was right. Tonight, he had insisted she work poolside, even though she asked not to. He said it was busy. He said she needed to be flexible. He said it like a test. Now she understood. "Get cleaned up," Marcus said as he passed her, voice low and smooth. "You're distracting the guests." Distracting. As if she had chosen this, she wanted to scream. Instead, she nodded. She walked away with her head down while laughter followed her like footsteps. In the staff room, Lena locked the door and leaned against it, breathing hard. Her hands trembled. Her face burned, not from shame alone, but from anger so sharp it hurt. She stared at herself in the mirror. Mascara streaked, hair wild. Eyes wide and wet. She thought of quitting. The idea came fast, almost comforting, but it vanished just as quickly. Quitting meant no paycheck, no safety, no justice. She changed into spare clothes and returned to work because she had to. Every step back into the party felt heavier. Every laugh sounded louder, even when it wasn't about her. She kept her eyes down. She moved fast. She did not speak unless spoken to. Marcus avoided her for the rest of the night, which somehow felt worse. When the event ended, she walked home instead of taking the bus. The air was cold. Her shoes were still wet. With every step, her thoughts raced. This was not an accident. That truth settled deep in her chest. At home, Lena sat on her bed without turning on the lights. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the fridge. She replayed the shove again and again, each time clearer. The angle, the force, the timing. Marcus had waited until the crowd was thick and loud. He had chosen the moment well. Her phone buzzed. It's a message from a coworker. "Are you okay?" She typed back, "Yeah," then erased it, then typed, "I'm fine." She sent it even though it was a lie. Sleep did not come. When it finally did, it was broken and restless. She dreamed of falling over and over, each time with more people watching. The next morning, she woke with a heavy feeling in her chest. The anger had cooled into something steadier and more dangerous. She thought about the other staff, the ones who stayed quiet, the ones who left suddenly. She remembered whispers in the break room, complaints that never went anywhere. Marcus knew how to stay clean on the surface. At work, he acted normal, friendly even. He joked with guests. He laughed loudly. He never mentioned the pool. When Lena passed him, he did not. Look at her. That made her more certain. She began to notice things she had ignored before. How Marcus spoke differently when supervisors were gone. How his voice dropped. How his words cut just enough to hurt but not enough to report. How he stood too close. Hey, how he framed orders like favors. Lena listened. She watched. She remembered. Days passed. The party became gossip. A short clip of her fall appeared online, then disappeared. People moved on. Marcus moved on. Lena did not. She started writing things down at night. Dates, times, words, names. At first her notes were messy, driven by emotion. Then they became careful. Clear, she did not rush. She knew one mistake could ruin everything. She spoke quietly to a former coworker who had quit. Then another. They were hesitant at first, scared of trouble. But when Lena shared her story, something shifted. They shared theirs. Patterns emerged. Marcus always pushed just enough. Never where cameras pointed. Never where it could be proven easily. Always with people who needed the job too much to fight back. Lena felt sick realizing how long this had gone on. At the same time, doubt crept in. What if she failed? What if she lost everything? What if revenge turned her into someone she did not recognize? She hated how often she imagined Marcus exposed, standing where she had stood, watched, judged. The image brought satisfaction, and that scared her. She wanted justice. But the line between justice and revenge blurred more each day. Then she learned about Adrian Cole. His name surfaced in a quiet conversation between managers. The true host of the events. The man whose money kept everything running, rarely present. Always watching through reports and cameras. Powerful in ways Marcus only pretended to be. Adrian had been at the pool party. Lena remembered him now. Standing away from the crowd, silent. His face unreadable as she climbed out of the water. He had not laughed, had not filmed, he had simply watched. The thought stayed with her. If Adrian had seen the truth, then Marcus's power was not absolute. That knowledge changed everything. Lena did not rush. She waited. She kept gathering facts. Each piece made her stronger and heavier at the same time. The desire to act grew, but so did the fear of what acting would cost. One night she stood on her balcony and looked down at the streetlights. She asked herself what she really wanted: to hurt him or to stop him. The answer mattered. By the time the next major event was announced, Lena was ready for something to happen, even if she did not yet know what that something would be. The betrayal had already shaped her. What came next would define her. Lena stopped seeing the hotel as a workplace and started seeing it as a map. Every hallway meant something. Every camera angle mattered. Every pause in Marcus's voice carried weight. She moved through her shifts with calm hands and quiet eyes. But inside her mind worked fast, sorting risk from chance. Anger no longer burned. It sharpened. She learned when Marcus felt safe. It was when the right people were present, when laughter was loud and praise flowed easily. He thrived in crowds. He softened his tone near power and hardened it near fear. Lena watched how he changed with the room. She noticed how staff froze when he approached, how jokes died, how shoulders tightened. She noticed how new hires tried too hard, how older staff avoided eye contact. No one talked openly, but silence spoke clearly. At night, Lena reviewed everything. She organized notes. She replayed conversations in her head. trimming emotion until only truth remained. She knew. She could not afford mistakes. If she moved too soon, Marcus would crush her quietly and walk away clean. But the pressure of waiting took its toll. She felt it in her chest during breaks, a tight knot that never loosened. She dreamed of confrontations that ended badly. She woke up tired, then went to work anyway. Bills did not care about fear. Neither did time. One afternoon, Marcus cornered her near the storage room. "You've been quiet," he said, smiling. "That's good. Less trouble that way." His voice was smooth, but his eyes searched her face, testing. Lena met his gaze calmly. She did not look away. "I'm just doing my job," she said. Something flickered in his expression. Not anger, curiosity. As if he sensed a shift he could. "Not name." "Good," he replied. "Keep it that way." As he walked off, Lena felt the urge to act rise sharply. She imagined exposing him right there, forcing the truth into the open. But she stopped herself. That was emotion talking, not strategy. She reminded herself why she was doing this. Not for pride, not for applause, for balance. Marcus, meanwhile, felt uneasy in ways he could not explain. Lena no longer reacted like the others. She did not flinch. She did not rush to please him. She did not complain either. That silence bothered him more than anger would have. He began watching her more closely. He justified it easily. He told himself he was maintaining order, that she needed supervision. That authority required vigilance. Deep down, he feared losing control. To steady himself, Marcus doubled down on routine. He praised certain staff publicly and corrected others sharply. He reminded everyone who made the schedule, who signed reports, who decided futures. He believed fear was effective when applied carefully. But fear had limits. Lena reached out to a former supervisor who had left under vague terms. They met in a small cafe far from the hotel. The woman spoke slowly at first, then faster as words spilled out. Pressure, threats, quiet warnings to stay silent. "I thought it was just me," she said, hands shaking around her cup. Lena listened without interrupting. When the woman finished, Lena slid her notes across the table. "You weren't alone," Lena said. The woman stared at the pages, then nodded once. She agreed to help, not loudly, not publicly, but honestly. Each ally added weight to Lena's plan. And weight made her question herself. She asked herself what victory would look like. Marcus fired, shamed, forgotten. Would that fix what had already happened? Would it give her peace? Or keep her trapped in the moment by the pool? Some nights she almost deleted everything. Then she remembered the laughter. She remembered how small she felt, how invisible her pain was to people who could afford comfort. That memory hardened her resolve again. The next event loomed closer. Bigger crowd, more attention. Marcus was confident. He had no reason not to be. His record looked clean. His charm still worked. But the name Adrian Cole came up again, louder. This time, Adrian would attend in person. The news sent a ripple through management. Schedules were revised, rules were repeated. Marcus polished every detail. He wanted this night perfect. He wanted to be seen. Lena felt the pressure rise. This was not just another event. This was a crossroad. If she acted before, she risked being dismissed as bitter. If she waited, she risked losing momentum. Timing mattered more than ever. She rehearsed conversations in her head, short, clear, fact-based, no emotion. She knew emotion could be used. Against her, Marcus noticed her focus and misread it. He assumed she was nervous. He pulled her aside 2 days before the event. "Big night," he said. "Don't mess it up." "I won't," Lena replied. Her calm unsettled him. He leaned closer. "People forget mistakes when they're smart enough," he said quietly. "I haven't forgotten anything," Lena said. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Marcus stepped back, surprised. For a second, his mask cracked. Then he smiled again, thinner this time. "Careful," he said. "Memory can be a burden." He walked away, leaving Lena with a racing heart. She had revealed more than planned. She knew Marcus would be watching now, waiting for her to slip. The night before the event, Lena barely slept. She lay staring at the ceiling, weighing every outcome, best case, worst case. She accepted that she might lose her job. She accepted that things might get harder before they got better. She also accepted that doing nothing would eat her alive. The day arrived. The hotel buzzed with energy. Lights were tested, music cues reviewed, staff moved fast. Marcus was everywhere at once, commanding attention. He looked pleased, powerful. In control, Lena took her place among the servers. Her role was simple: blend in, observe, be ready. Adrian Cole arrived quietly. No announcement, no spectacle. Just a man in a dark suit, eyes alert, posture relaxed. He spoke little and watched much. Lena caught his gaze once, just once. He gave no sign of recognition, but she felt seen in a way she hadn't since the incident. As the night unfolded, Marcus grew bolder. He laughed loudly. He took credit easily. He brushed past staff without apology. He believed the spotlight belonged to him. That belief was his weakness. Lena moved through the crowd, heart steady now. Fear had burned itself out, leaving clarity behind. She knew what she had to do and what she would not do. She would not lie. She would not exaggerate. She would not humiliate him the way he humiliated her. She would tell the truth. When the moment came, it was quieter than she expected. No music. Drop. No dramatic pause. Just a natural break in conversation near the pool. Adrian stood alone, looking out over the water. Lena approached him, hands calm at her sides. She introduced herself. Her voice did not shake. "I was pushed into this pool at the last event," she said simply. "And it wasn't an accident." Adrian turned to face her fully. She spoke quickly then, facts flowing clean and sharp. Names, dates, patterns, others affected. She did not accuse wildly. She did not beg, she stated. Adrian listened without interrupting. When she finished, there was silence. Long enough for Lena to wonder if she had failed. Then Adrian nodded. Once. "Thank you for telling me," he said. That was all. Lena stepped back into the crowd, unsure what would happen next. Her part was done. Whatever came now was out of her hands. Across the room, Marcus laughed at a joke, unaware that the ground beneath him had shifted. Lena watched him and felt something unexpected. Not joy, not relief, but a quiet sense of release. The fight inside her eased just a little. She had chosen action without cruelty, truth without spectacle. Whatever the outcome, she knew one thing. She had not stayed silent. The music stopped without warning. At first, people thought it was a technical issue. Conversations slowed. Glasses paused midair. Then Adrian Cole stepped forward and the room shifted. His presence carried weight without effort. He did not raise his voice. He did not need to. "I need everyone's attention," he said. Silence spread quickly, like water finding every crack. Marcus turned, confused at first, then alert. He straightened his jacket and moved closer, ready to smile. Ready to perform? This was his world, or so he believed. Adrian's eyes did not move to Marcus right away. Instead, they scanned the crowd, the faces that had laughed weeks ago, the ones that had watched and done nothing. His gaze settled near the pool. The water was still now, smooth and dark. "I've spent years building things," Adrian said. "Businesses, teams, reputations, and I've learned something important. What happens in the shadows always comes into the light." Marcus's smile tightened. Adrian turned to him. "Marcus Hale." The name landed hard. "Yes, Marcus." replied quickly, "Is something wrong?" Adrian studied him for a long moment. "Yes," he said. "Something is very wrong." A low murmur moved through the guests. Marcus laughed lightly. "If this is about staff issues, we can discuss it privately." "There's no need," Adrian said. "This concerns everyone here." Marcus's confidence wavered, just for a second. Adrian gestured toward Lena. "Please come here." Every head turned. Lena felt the room close in as she stepped forward. Her heartbeat was loud, but her steps were steady. She stood beside Adrian, not above, not below, just present. "This woman was pushed into this pool at the last event," Adrian said. "She was laughed at, filmed, ignored." The room was silent. Marcus opened his mouth. Adrian raised a hand. "I didn't ask for your version yet," he said calmly. Adrian continued. "I've reviewed reports, schedules, complaints that never reached the right desk. Patterns that were hidden under charm and excuses." Marcus's face drained of color. "This behavior ends tonight," Adrian said. Marcus stepped forward. "This is a misunderstanding," he said. "She's upset. People exaggerate." Lena did not look at him. Adrian did. "I don't make decisions based on exaggeration," he said. "I make them based on evidence." Marcus's voice sharpened. "You're taking her side without." "I'm taking the side of truth," Adrian replied. The words hit harder than shouting ever could. Adrian turned back to the guests. "Marcus Hale no longer represents my name, my business, or my events. Effective immediately." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Marcus stood frozen. "You can't do this," he said. "I've worked for years, and you abused that position," Adrian said. "That cancels the years." Security approached quietly. There was no struggle, no scene. Marcus looked around, searching for support, for laughter, for someone to defend him. No one did. As he was escorted away, his eyes met Lena's. For the first time, there was no control in them, only disbelief. The doors closed behind him. The room stayed silent. Adrian waited, then spoke again. "We'll take a short break." Music slowly returned. People began to move, unsure how to act. Conversations restarted in low tones. Lena felt the tension release from her shoulders. Not all at once, but enough to breathe. Adrian turned to her. "You were brave," he said. "That matters." "Thank you," Lena replied. Her voice was quiet but clear. "You didn't seek revenge," Adrian continued. "You sought truth." "There is a difference." Lena nodded. She finally understood that difference herself. The event ended early. The next days moved fast. Marcus's dismissal spread quickly through the industry. No dramatic headlines, no public spectacle, just quiet consequences. Doors closed, calls went unanswered. Its influence faded the way it had been built. Behind closed doors, Lena lost her job, as expected. But the loss felt lighter than she feared. Adrian ensured she was paid fairly and connected her with people who valued work without conditions. She took time off, real time, time to rest, time to think. The memory of the pool still surfaced sometimes, but it no longer burned. It no longer defined her. She realized something important in the quiet mornings that followed. Revenge had promised satisfaction. Justice had given her freedom. She had imagined revenge as a moment, a sharp end, but it would have tied her forever to Marcus, to that night, to the laughter. Instead, she chose to step away from hate without stepping away from truth. Weeks later, Lena started a new job. Smaller place, fewer lights, better people, respect. Came without fear attached. Sometimes she caught herself smiling for no reason. She had carried anger like armor, believing it protected her. Letting it go felt strange at first, like standing without a shield. But she learned that strength did not come from holding on to pain. It came from deciding what kind of person she would be. One evening, she walked past a pool at a different hotel. Laughter echoed. The water shimmered. She paused, then kept walking. The past did not pull her back. It no longer could. And somewhere, behind her, a lesson lingered, quiet but clear. Revenge demands a price. Truth sets you free.